Sometimes I literally wonder what these people think before taking their self to a live show, because at the end of the day, you see people's father telling each other, shut up, it's okay, I don't want to talk again. Oh, you're still talking. Okay, continue. And the other opposition party is not even allowing this one to have his own space. At some time, I don't know. You should just let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clues and stitches we're going to be having at today's episode. My name is Sonia. If you have not subscribed, subscribe, like, comment, and share. I'll go ahead and roll out the clips and then I'll be back with commentaries. Let's go, guys.
No,
if you want to cut
committee,
me off,
I'm cutting you off right now.
But you cannot muzzle.
I'm cutting you off right now.
Ranking member
I'm cutting
under
you off right
these
now.
rules.
I'm cutting you off right now.
You are stopping an opening statement just because you don't want to hear the facts. I think that's really regrettable.
You can continue your opening statement.
Fortunately, my Republican colleagues, I think, are willing to listen.
You can continue your opening statement, but let me make a
so let me just conclude by saying.
Or you are going to conclude.
Right now,
that's good to hear.
Millions of Americans are wondering what is happening in Washington, D.C. And watching this hearing where the chairman is trying to muzzle a ranking member who's simply calling attention to the facts surrounding the ACA and the real-life stories of people like Sarah and Shayna Verstigan from Wisconsin indicates to me that we need to shine a light on what this effort is to repeal the ACA, and we need to stand strong in favor of affordable health insurance in the United States. Republicans are refusing to extend enhanced tax credits because they hate the ACA more than they care about the pain that this move will inflict on families. Thank you.
So the ranking member has been incredibly disrespectful of these hearings.
Ignorance by label, blinded by the racism. No matter, the look says it all.
Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
Affordable Care Act.
And why is that?
Well, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Obama, so I don't support him in the Obama things that he's got going on. I'm actually really excited for President-elect Donald Trump, so.
Right. So you don't like anything Obama does, and you prefer the Affordable Care Act?
Absolutely.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I support Obamacare.
So if you were a senator and you could vote today, you would vote to keep Obamacare instead of the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I guess the Affordable Care Act.
And why do you prefer the Affordable Care Act over Obamacare?
I'm not really sure. My girlfriend supports Trump, so I go with whatever she says.
What is the main difference between Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act?
One is you pay, and then the other one is Obama pays for you.
Obama pays pretty big difference.
Pretty big difference.
I believe that Obamacare, the premiums are too high, so people end up paying more.
Great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
Open enrollment is happening right now, the time when you can enroll, renew, or change your health care plans. Regardless of whether you have coverage through your employer or the Affordable Care Act, many will suffer sticker shock. Maribel Gonzalez has more on what's changing and how much more insurance could cost in 2025.
Okay. If you obtain health insurance through work,
the total health cost of health benefits is going to rise by 6.5% next year, and that is the highest increase we've seen in 15 years.
Beth Umlin from the consulting firm Mercer says employees will feel it through paycheck deductions, as employers may shift more healthcare costs to staffers.
The same healthcare service and good that you bought last year is going to be higher.
So I believe in the Affordable Care Act.
And so the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare?
Right, correct.
Right.
Which is obvious based on the name.
It's in the name, right.
Right.
Why do you like the Affordable Care Act more than Obamacare?
Because I don't like Obama.
But you like the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah.
What if I told you Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing?
Honestly, I hope I will not be blamed for really loving the fact that this guy did not want this other guy to actually cut him off, as far as I'm concerned. Because why is it that these men cannot literally learn to respect each other and allow any single person to be able to say what that person have in his or her own mind before going ahead to like cut them? Even what they are saying, if it is in your favor or it is not in your favor. The fact that you are on live show, the fact that you are on live broadcast, the fact that a lot of clips are going to be flying is giving you every single reason for you to literally respect yourself. But I'll find out that these men will not literally do that. They will love to be embarrassing themselves on the live show. But I'm happy. A lot of people are also happy in the comment section that, yeah, do not give him that space. Say what you want to say. We're giving you kudos and so on and so forth. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section and let's continue this video.
Holy crap. So this past year, we were paying, I thought already, an obscene amount of money, like $700 some dollars. And the plan is $1,259 a month.
We just got our benefits for next year. What I'm currently paying $240 every 2 weeks for is going up to $709 every 2 weeks. How can I possibly survive paying $1,500 just in medical coverage?
Mine went up $230 a month. I don't think I could pay that. I might be having to go without health insurance.
I just logged in to our health insurance to see what, if we stay on the same plan, what our premium is going to be for 2026. $1,208.91 a month. I don't know if we can keep our heads above water next year.
I found out today from the marketplace that instead of paying $650 a month for health insurance for my son and me, I'm now going to be paying, with my current plan, $1,151 and some cents per month for my monthly premium. This is why Democrats haven't signed the bill. This is why they're refusing to sign, because they knew that people like me were going to see our health insurance premiums double without the subsidies, the premium tax credits.
Holy crap. So this past year, we were paying, I thought already, an obscene...
If you watch this whole video, there's like 5 or 6 different people that are talking about how much their health insurance premiums are going to cost. But like, I made a video about this a while ago. I want to say it was a couple of months ago. And 60% of America is living paycheck to paycheck. So we can't have our health insurance triple or quadruple overnight. Like, we're going to have to stop paying for health insurance. So not only are they kicking the $14 million off with the big beautiful bill, but now insurance premiums are going to be so high that people are literally going to have to choose to stop paying it. Because I don't know anybody that can afford to pay $1,500 or $1,600 a month for health insurance unless you absolutely have to because you're diabetic and you need your insulin or something. I mean, I would advise people to take what you would normally put for your insurance, put it in a high yield savings account. A lot of the doctor's offices and a lot of the urgent cares have different prices. If you don't have insurance, that is much cheaper. And I go to the health department in Craven County here in North Carolina. Google the county that you live in, health department, and see what comes up. At my health department, it's on a sliding scale. You pay based on how much you make. And my appointments are $15 a month. And I'm actually even able to pick up my prescriptions right there in the health department. They have a pharmacy there. And I think it's like $23 or $24 for 4 prescriptions monthly. And, but I don't have a serious chronic condition. I have slightly high blood pressure because I'm getting old now. So that's an option for me. But like, when we're talking about people losing health insurance, yeah, there's the 14 million that they're kicking off because they're redoing the rules and they're not going to qualify. But also, we're going to have millions of people that just flat out can't afford it anymore. And what's going to happen is that's going to cause those premiums to go up again, because the healthy people are what's paying for the sick people's treatment. And if you're healthy enough to not have to pay for it, and you don't really have a choice, like if you have to choose between housing or health insurance, you got to choose to have a roof over your head. So we're going to have another increase. I don't even, probably next year, after all these people just say, I can't afford it and stop paying for it. Then health insurance premiums are going to go up again. Then it'll make it unaffordable for even more people. Now, millions more people will have to drop their health insurance. Then the premiums will go up again and make it unaffordable for even more people. And more people will have to drop their health insurance. And honestly, long story short, we just really need universal health insurance.
Obamacare is what it is today because the Republicans at that time completely disagreed with so many different parameters around this healthcare plan that they did a lot of back and forth of voting to change this, doing different amendments to this and changing this and changing that. And in doing all that, then Obamacare became this plan that we now see. The Obamacare that currently exists today is not the Obamacare plan that President Obama presented during his term. And I only know this because I actually worked for a patient assistance program that assisted patients who were potentially getting on those types of plans. And it was during that time that some people were actually losing whatever coverage they had previously, and they were being forced into that. And this particular program was attached to Johnson & Johnson brand, so it would help patients who have like very serious health conditions like cancer, HIV, AIDS, things like that. They can get the pain medicine that they need for like long-term pain management. And what I realized, and I realized this through working with these people, is that like I'm hearing what this plan is proposed as, and then I'm hearing these different discussions where lawmakers are arguing that it doesn't need to be this and it needs to be that. And at that point, I'll be honest, I was like really young and immature in like the political side of life. I think I might have been on my second time of voting for a presidential election, so I didn't really understand all the back and forth that went on when it came to budget approvals, new plans, and how they go back and forth and vote 10 million times. So I think that unfortunately, the Obamacare that exists today is not the Obamacare that Obama intended for it to be. It doesn't help people the way he intended for it to help them. But I think ultimately this is an opportunity for people who don't otherwise have access to insurance through like employers and family members and being dependent of people, or Medicare and Medicaid and everything else. I think the larger concern here is that because there's not like this equal opportunity for insurance, like you have to have a job or you need to qualify for Medicare and Medicaid based on these parameters. So when you start to say that you're ripping away healthcare, let's talk about what that really means for people. So for people who have chronic illnesses, and a chronic illness is something that is constant. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is some like life-changing or life-altering illness. Asthma is chronic. Allergies are chronic. Eczema is also chronic. I just want to put that out there. Now, most often when we hear chronic, we think about things like heart disease. We also think about things like diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol. Those are also chronic issues as well. But let's also talk about other things like babies can be born with chronic issues. They can develop chronic issues. And we can even take it further to the way that this particular, these administrations have gotten to a place where they've started to make medical decisions for us. Women can be in very dangerous medical situations when bearing children, carrying them for 9 months, and even the birth of those children. And at this point, medical professionals are unfortunately in a position where their hands are tied, and they may see the medical opportunity to save your life, but the law is so sticky that if they interfere or if they provide a certain kind of service, they could actually lose their well-being for that. Now, let's take it further. You're talking about people that right now today might be dealing with something as serious as cancer, might be dealing with end-of-life care, might be dealing with simply living in a nursing home and they don't have any family or loved ones to care for them. So these people potentially could get put out of nursing homes with nowhere to go because they're no longer going to have access to Medicaid and Medicare. There are children whose parents do not have jobs that might be sick and they unfortunately will not be able to get the care that they need because their Medicaid will get stripped. There are also some people that cannot afford health care with their employer, and maybe based on the number of dependents that they have, they actually qualify for Medicaid. So now we take away from their ability to pay their bills and support their family, and then we won't even get into how the SNAP benefits are essential to them being able to balance out what their expenses are, and you've already ripped that away from them. So children will starve tonight and every other night until we decide to start realizing that while we make decisions in a political space, the decisions that we're making are real life decisions that impact people. Real people with real struggles and real challenges living real lives. And honestly, it's not even as much about me, the person who this might not impact directly, because a lot of these resources I don't necessarily have to use, but one day I may need to. And if we're going down this path, we don't know what we'll need in the future. And with that in mind, we're shortening ourselves the possibility of having things taken care of, because this is a country that affords us these opportunities. Interestingly enough, though, the people that decide what happens with my life make millions of dollars and never understand the struggle, the challenge, or the responsibility of all of these different things that we live through every day.
What's the Republican strategy? What is it that they're trying to do with this shutdown? Well, they have figured out the perfect way to end the Affordable Care Act without needing the 60 votes that they'd never get in the Senate. And that right there is what this shutdown is really about. See, Speaker Johnson says that he's, quote, willing to negotiate Obamacare subsidies in December, which sounds responsible, right? Except he knows that those subsidies have to be locked in by November when open enrollment starts. So why did he wait? Because it's all a setup. See, here's how the trick works. Without subsidies in place by November, which is right now, premiums automatically skyrocketed. We've already seen this. In some states, they went up 300-400%, and that makes insurance completely unaffordable for millions of people. So the healthy folks, the ones whose premiums help balance the system, drop their coverage. So what's left are just the sick, chronically ill, and high-cost patients who can't afford to go without insurance, which then drives up prices even higher. And once that happens, the system just collapses. And then Republicans can shrug and say that they didn't end Obamacare, that it just ran out of funding. See the trick? They don't repeal the ACA, they just starve it. And by the time any December negotiations happen, if they even happen, open enrollment is over, premiums are locked in, and people are already losing coverage. And that's not the only game that they're playing. See, in 2023, a bipartisan budget extended funding for children's health care, rural hospitals, and community health centers through 2028, which was safely beyond the next election. That was the whole purpose of it, so that we wouldn't be going back and forth during election season. And now, in the new dirty continuing resolution, Republicans quietly move those expiration dates up to 2026, right before the midterms. Why? So they can pull the same stunt again while they still control Congress. See, this is their window, their one shot to gut health care for the poor, the sick, and the rural voters who still think that they're fighting for them. Because they're not. They're tricking them. The Democrats have to stand firm, because if they don't, millions of Americans, including families in small town red communities, will lose all access to health care. This isn't budgeting. It's sabotage designed to make health care fail and then blame the system that they broke.
For all of them crying that they're actually not the biggest fan of Obama, blah, 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 east, west, north, and south, I hope what is actually happening right now suits you so well. And I hope what you're actually going through right now is what you should be proud of, because I see no reasons that this man literally is trying to help you guys. But at the end of the day, you guys turn the hand that actually fed you people. And now a lot of you guys are actually seeing it, that it did not just end there. Now you people are seeing the worst. For those ones that be like, oh, Obamacare and the ACA care and so on and so forth is even so amazing, but I'm not too surprised, because it's not everything that every single person actually gets more information that they do not literally know that these two things are the same thing. But anyways, let's continue this video and I'll be back with commentaries. These are actually the fatful moments, and I am so glad for this, MAGAs.
Hey, what's up? So for those MAGA supporters who stopped reading when Dr. Seuss books got a little too complicated, repeat after me. The Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same. One more time. The Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same. Did you get, wait, you did, what? You didn't know that? Hold on. The Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same. So while your president is on the news and being interviewed talking about Obamacare needs to be redacted and I'm going to fix it and bliggity blah, 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 and you're rooting and cheering and applauding and all that kind of good stuff because you're like, we support the Affordable Care Act. I hate to tell you this, but they are the same. So the Affordable Care Act that provides you with medical coverage that you can afford is, say it with me, Obama, the black president, care. Things you learn. I mean, it just amazes me. Remember, you shouldn't have stopped at green, eggs, and ham. There was more reading to be done later on in life. Wow, who'd have thought?
There is no conservative Republican plan to replace Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, because their plan is to hand it over to private industry. Like every time you hear the president or any Republican or conservative for that matter questioned about the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, they'll tell you how horrible it is and how it's destroying health care and how it's falling apart and how it's the worst thing they've ever seen. But when they're asked about, well, what their replacement plan is, well, what do they propose instead? They stall. They don't answer the question. They don't have a plan. For the last 10 years, the president has told us that he'll be rolling out his replacement for Obamacare in 2 weeks, and that they have a plan. It's a beautiful plan. It's the most beautiful plan we've ever seen, but it just, we never see it. And that's because they don't have one. They're not even going to attempt to draft a proposal or plan. Their plan is to turn it over to private industry, to take our tax dollars, the money that we pay into our healthcare system, that you see come out of your check in the Medicare and Medicaid line, and to just turn it over to private industry to do whatever they want. To take our tax dollars to subsidize private healthcare insurances and companies, and then make us pay more for it, to make us pay higher premiums, make us pay higher for services and care. Their entire plan and proposal is just to privatize it. That's why they're not working on it. That's why 10 years later, still nothing, still no replacement, still not even like edits to it, just absolutely nothing. And then their solution at best is to just remove people from it, but that's only to help privatize it, because if we remove people from a public healthcare option, then they have no choice but private healthcare options. Their entire objective and their plan is to privatize medical care on every facet, every aspect, every level. That's the plan. That's why they never have a proposal, because their plan is to hand it over to private companies.
Trump won on 60 Minutes, and he said for the first time publicly, as far as I know, that he doesn't want to replace Obamacare, which is the Affordable Care Act. He wants to fix it, lower the premiums. That's rather odd, considering the first time he was president, he factually wanted to repeal it. It got repealed in the House and lost the votes in the Senate. But sure, he wants to fix it. And for the record, it's actually a really easy fix. Expand the ACA. Expand Medicaid coverage. Those two basic movements would lower premiums. Another easy fix is reminding people to enroll, which has been eliminated under this administration. Extend the ACA tax credits. Those are all factual things that would quote unquote fix Obamacare. Those are also factual things that this administration and Republicans are battling against. Hence the government shutdown. He knows the premiums are skyrocketing in January. And he knows how important those ACA tax credits are. So if he was serious about fixing Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, he would call up Republican senators and say, go make a deal with Democrats to make sure we extend those tax credits. And while you're at it, let's expand Medicaid. Because through the ACA, there's an option for people who normally don't qualify for Medicaid to qualify for Medicaid. But there are a handful of states that are like, F you, because of Obama. So if Congress passed a law of an expansion of Medicaid with the same qualifications as the ACA qualifications, that would be a step in the right direction in fixing the ACA. Now that Trump is saying he wants to fix the Affordable Care Act, I guarantee you're going to hear Republicans start to call it Trump Care. Obamacare is the bad version. Trump Care is the best version ever known to man. And let us not forget, the only reason that we are here in this battle with the ACA and the premiums hiking the way they have is because for all these years, Republicans have refused to even come to the table to help Democrats expand the ACA. instead spending all of their time taking the ACA to court case after case in hopes of repealing the Affordable Care Act with no replacement in sight. But sure, let's get busy fixing the Affordable Care Act. We can start again by calling up the Republican senators and getting rid of this government shutdown, implementing the tax credits permanently. Let's start there.
Guys, the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same thing. They are the exact same thing. There is no policy called Obamacare. It is just a nickname the Republicans gave to Affordable Care Act because they didn't like Obama, and now look. I saw an interview and people were like, oh yeah, I would take the Affordable Care Act, but definitely would never do Obamacare. The gag is the people who are hating on Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, are literally the people who need it most. 9 times out of 10, like the states with the highest rates of uninsured people are Republican states. They're red states. It's not the blue states. So this government shutdown, like, it's about to get spooky. Basic needs should not be a partisan issue. Like, healthcare should not be something blue or red. Like, it's healthcare. Like, people need healthcare to survive. It is a basic right, you know?
Anyways, that is all I got for this video, and honestly, it is amazing. Destiny, can you help me lock this door? It is amazing that a lot of people did not know that what they actually voted for is what we actually bring their downfall, because they were thinking that at the end of the day, every single thing is to hurt black folks, every single thing is to hurt black people. But the God of black people have literally been coming through, where God has really been showing these people that if you actually want to buy the finger that fed you, then it is fine. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, especially my black folks. I remember that during this Obamacare and so on and so forth, it was one of the most affordable healthcare, where you see all these patients with cancer and every other was diagnosed are actually having the opportunity to live, because the Obama healthcare made a lot of things very easy. As in my own point of view, right? That's why I said go ahead to correct me if you think I'm wrong. The Obamacare made a lot of things easy as far as I'm concerned. Made a lot of people to see reasons why they need to live again. Made a lot of people to see reasons why healthcare or getting an healthcare insurance is actually not a very big deal, because the price was really affordable. But at the end of the day, when you see this particular orange man coming out to be like he's taking over a lot of things, and a lot of them were like, yeah, that is just the best thing. Because if you check in some of their interview where they were actually interviewed, they literally opened their mouth to say that yes, they really do not prefer Obamacare and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, they are now finding out that these two things, the Obamacare and the ACA, they're actually the same thing, which is the Affordable Care Act, are actually the same thing. And now that they are finding out that they're actually the same thing, they are now seeing the full extent of it. As it stands now, a lot of people are not even able to acquire insurance, which is their health insurance. A lot of people that are supposed to survive on Medicare and so on and so forth are losing it back to back. And you know, the happiness is that most people that are actually losing this is actually people that are, yes, these are MAGAs. These are people that actually voted and said, let's do it, let's do it. You see them coming on the internet to cry every single day that this thing has literally been affecting them. Am I so happy for them? I'm happy for them, because that is actually what they use their hand to bring upon themselves. Because at the end of the day, if they literally do not want to bring this upon themselves, they would have been able to make sure they check the disadvantages and advantages before they will be able to make a particular decision. But one thing I've learned with these MAGAs is, if not until something gets to this extreme extent, they don't literally realize it. They wait until something gets to the worst part of it before they will now come to relation and be like, oh, that's true. This is what we're actually supposed to do. We're not supposed to be doing this. We're not supposed to be going that. And then they will literally start crying. I'm sorry if you're hearing any noise from the background. There is a drilling going on in my bedroom because there are some things that needed to be fixed. So please pardon me and forgive me, right? But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do well to subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share. And let me know what is the greatest lesson that you've actually learned from this particular video, because this video is for educational people. Credits belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.